Hi everyone, it's Karen from the Geordie Grandma, and welcome to this month's review of the book that we read for January for the Once Upon a Book Club. And January's book was, just get a picture up for you, was the Rainfall Market. I read it on my Kindle, so you can't actually see that very well. But you'll have seen the cover of the book on the thumbnail. So I don't know if there'll be many people in the group tonight. I don't know how many people have read the book. The Rainfall Market was by You Yeong-Gwang. Apologies if I've mispronounced that name. And it's not what I was expecting. It's a fantasy novel. I'm just going to read you what the blurb said before I give you my review and wait and see if anybody does come into the chat room. So it says, on the first day of the monsoon, an old ramshackle building appears. This is the Rainfall Market. Inside you will find magical bookstores, hairdressers, perfumeries, and anything your heart desires. But you cannot enter without an invitation. Seren, who lives in a small flat with her mother and dreams of a bigger, better life, can't believe her luck when she receives a ticket inviting her to step inside the Rainfall Market. Once inside, she will have the opportunities to swap her life for a new one, a better one. Accompanied by Isha the cat and followed by a mysterious shadow, Seren tentatively steps inside. There she is told she has just 1 week to choose the perfect life and find true happiness. However, there is a catch. If she doesn't find her dream life, she'll be trapped inside the market forever. So, on first glance, it sounds like an interesting book. I don't mind fantasy. It does sound interesting, and obviously the people who voted for this for January thought it sounded interesting too. So, just a quick recap. Seren is, I think she's roughly 16. It says high school student. So I think she's about 16. And she does have this quite miserable life. Her father died when she was young. Our elder sister has run away. And her mother works lots and lots of hours for pennies to try and keep them above water. And they live in a very rundown house. I think it's just one room, maybe two, and they seem to sleep on a blanket on the floor. So Seren decides to write a letter to the Rainfall Market to see if she can get a ticket, and she is lucky enough to get one. So she goes to the Rainfall Market, which I think only appears in the rainy season. It's kind of a magical place, and she goes in, and it's populated by these creatures called the Dockaby. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but they're called the Dockaby. And from what I can gather, they're a little bit like goblins or magical creatures. Now, I got a third of the way probably through this book before I kind of realized or decided that it's not for adults. I would say the way it's written, the writing is quite simplistic. Some of the characters are a bit childlike. I would say it was written for a younger audience, like young adult, or even younger possibly. So anyway, Seren goes into this market and she gets given some gold coins in exchange for her miserable life. I don't know what these lives are used for. They may be used to sell to somebody else who comes to the Rainfall Market. So she has to collect some orbs. And because she has a golden ticket, not an ordinary ticket, she gets a golden ticket. She is allowed to see through these orbs the life that she would be getting if she decided that that was the one she would choose. And she also gets this spirit guide with her, which is a cat, but it's not really a cat. It can grow to the size of a wolf, and the cat puts the orbs in its mouth and they glow, and that's how she sees the life that would come from that orb. So it's quite a simple premise. So she keeps looking for these orbs and she meets different characters along the way. And the orbs show her lives, such as she decides she wants an orb that will let her go to university because she thinks she needs to go to university, and the life she's already got, she'll never make it to university. So it shows her the life of what it would be like at university, but it doesn't end well. So she decides she doesn't want that one. And then she goes through a series of orbs. So she decides she wants a good 9-to-5 job. That doesn't end well. Then she decides running her own business would be a good thing. That also doesn't end well. Then she thinks being a travel blogger would be a good idea, but it's too lonely a life, so she doesn't want that. Then she decides she wants to have a good marriage and children, but unfortunately that doesn't end well either. So she goes through all these orbs that show her these different lives she could have, and she doesn't want any of them. Along the way, there's a character called Duroff, who is a Dokkaebi, but he's double-crossing Dokkaebi, who wants the orbs for himself. And there is a kind of a shadow monster in the shape of a spider that comes along. So it is very fantasy. It kind of reminded us, it had vibes of Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz. There was a couple of other things I wrote down. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory came to mind when I was reading it, and a little bit of Harry Potter in there as well. So in the end, she kind of, the moral of the story is, you know, that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and you should cherish the life you already have. And she goes back to her ordinary life and is happy, basically. The one thing about the Rainfall Market is if you don't leave the Rainfall Market by the time they're given a watch at the beginning that's got like an hourglass on it with water in, and if you don't leave the Rainfall Market before that water runs out, then you will disappear forever. So basically, that is the story. It's quite a short book. I think it's less than 200 pages. Like I said, I read it on Kindle. I don't know. I think if I'd known that it was not written for adults before I started to read it, I might still have read it. I don't mind reading kids' books. But because I thought it was an adult fiction book, I was kind of confused for quite a lot of it. The ending I thought was a little bit confusing because our sister disappears. Our sister has apparently ran away from home and they've never seen her again. And I wondered if maybe she had also gotten a ticket for the Rainfall Market in a previous year and didn't get out before the water glass ran out. And maybe that's why she disappeared. But that's never explained. So if anybody, I can see in the chat, hi Linda, hi Maureen, hi Diane, none of you read the book. It would be interesting to know anybody who had read the book, what their take was, what they thought had happened to our sister. Yeah, there was I'm sure there was about 25 votes for it, Maureen. Maureen's asking who voted for it. It seems weird. From the blurb that I read out at the beginning, it does actually sound like quite an interesting book. It reminds us a little bit. Has anybody read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig? I think the woman in that book sees different lives that she could have had and how it affected her, how it would have affected her and the people around her. And it kind of gives us vibes of that as well. I've read some reviews on Goodreads, and there's quite a few people saying the same thing. They didn't realize until some way through that it wasn't an adult novel, or maybe it is that because it was written in Korean, it hasn't translated very well when they've translated it to English. So I'm not entirely sure who this book is aimed at, because there is quite it is childlike. I mean, some of these goblins in the Dockerby in this Rainfall Market, they're doing things like picking their noses, and there's talk about snot, and that's the kind of thing that my grandson would find funny, and he's only 8. But then some of the lives that Seren chooses to look at, they're talking about things that marriages that end badly and jobs that are unfulfilling, which children of the age of 8 or even maybe 12 or 14 wouldn't really understand. So I'm not entirely sure who the book's for. I'm not entirely sure what I thought of the book. I don't know, Maureen, why aren't any of them on here? Maybe they didn't read the book. Maybe they picked it up, read the first chapter and thought, no, I'm not reading this. But to be fair, the book wasn't cheap. It's not available in paperback until October this year. I actually got it on Kindle, but I think that still cost me $7.99. So it would be a shame if people bought the book and then didn't read it. I guess one of the reasons for being in a book club is that you read some of the books you read on books that you would choose. That's what I like about being in a book club. That's not a book I would have chosen. I would never have chosen to read The Nightingale either. But it's good to push yourself out of your comfort zone. But yeah, I'm not sure. But the moral of the story was definitely, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and cherish what you have. And there was, I mean, the main character in the book that I liked was the cat, who was called Isha, this magical cat. And he had a happy ending as well. He ended going back as a kitten with Seren to live with her. But even when she got home, I mean, she'd been in this Rainfall Market for a week, and I'm guessing she was only 15, 16. She'd been in the Rainfall Market for a week. She gets home, and if you were a mother, you'd be saying, where the hell you been for a week? But it's nothing. It's just very strange, very strange. So maybe that's a good thing that you didn't read it. But yeah, it's a shame that there's nobody in that has read it. It kind of makes me conversation a little bit one-sided, because you won't know what I'm talking about, and possibly from my review of it, you won't want to read it. I did give it 3 stars because I quite liked the concept of the book. And I've read some books by Japanese authors which I've quite enjoyed. They're not written the same as how European or American or British people would write. They write differently. So maybe that's why this one was slightly different. But yeah, I wrote my review of it today in my journal here. So I'll just show you the spread that I did. I wrote quite a lot for it. I like to write the characters down the side so I don't forget. And I break the writing up into little bits so I can read it back. But yeah, I even did some more. I did write quite a bit from that book. There was a couple of quotes I picked out from the book that I liked. I do like it when books I read have a few sentences in or something that really kind of speaks to us. So the two that I picked out from this is, it's never too late to start on your dreams. The present is the best time to launch yourself forward. And I just thought that resonated with me, because I thought I didn't start YouTube until I was 50. So it's never too late to start something. And the other one was, every plant has its season. Some flowers come into bloom in the springtime, while others wait for summer or autumn. And a few don't show themselves until the coldest winter days, when all the other flowers are frozen. And I thought that was really poignant as well. So yeah, that's what I picked up from the Rainfall Market. Maureen says, can we have one of the Colleen Hoover books? I don't think I've read any Colleen Hoover, Maureen. Is she the one that wrote that one that's just been turned into a film recently? It Ends With Us, that there's a lot of controversy around. I have heard of her. I watch a booktuber on YouTube. I can't remember her name now. I think that channel's called Get Huggy With It. HYGGE. She's a Canadian woman. I haven't seen any of her videos for a while, but I think she read quite a lot of Colleen Hoover and she said some quite good things about her. So yeah, for this month, I'll just talk a little bit about the book that was chosen for February. I had the poll up on YouTube and I put the link on Facebook for about a week. And this is the one that was chosen. And it's called The Cottage by Lisa Stone. And it says, an isolated cottage. After losing her job and boyfriend, Jan Hamlin is in desperate need of a fresh start. So she jumps at the chance to rent a secluded cottage on the edge of Coleshaw Woods. A tap at the window. Very quickly, though, things take a dark turn. At night, Jan hears strange noises and faint taps at the window. Something or someone is out there. Jan refuses to be scared off, but whoever is outside isn't going away, and it soon becomes clear that the nightmare is only just beginning. It says a gripping new thriller with a difference. So that sounds quite interesting. That sounds a little bit more interesting than the Rainfall Market. So hopefully some people will read that one. Maureen, I'm not sure what you mean. I haven't either. There is November. I'm not quite sure what that means. Has anybody read anything good in January? Diane says the cottage sounds more hopeful. Yes, it does. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the Rainfall Market. I think once I realized it was more aimed at younger people, children, not younger people, children, I probably enjoyed it a little bit more. I could see us reading it to me grandkids who are 8 and 6, maybe changing the adult themes a little bit for them. But yeah, a strange one, definitely a strange one. So has anybody read anything good in January? Or did anybody get any good books for Christmas? I can't remember. Did we have I'm sure we did. We had a book club chat just after Christmas, I'm pretty certain. Yeah, I'm pretty certain we did. I think I did mention last month that I had set myself a series of books that, well, not a series. I took 12 books off my bookshelf and I thought, right, I want to get through these this year. So I'm going to try and do that. Linda said she read Trespassers. Wouldn't recommend it. What was it about, Linda? Trespassers. Maureen Lowther. Maureen says the book is called November. Is that one of the books by Colleen Hoover? It's called November. I'll just jot that down for the next vote. If I can find a blank page in my notebook and a pen. November by Colleen Hoover. Yeah, there's so many books and not enough time, isn't there? Diane says, I'm just finishing Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. How have you found that, Diane? Oh, yes, I remember you saying that because I said I was reading or I was going to read a book by Alison Weir. Christine says, I've never been in a book club before. I came on to see how it works. I enjoy reading, but I don't know if I'd be able to get the book and read it in time. I'm reading Stephen King, The Dark Tower. I hadn't been, well, I've been in an online book club before, Christine. I've never been in a proper face-to-face offline one, and I think they probably work a little bit better. Sometimes I have somebody on with us on camera where we discuss the book together, and that kind of works a little bit better because it's not just me talking. It's kind of somebody to bounce off, and we can ask questions. But yeah, all book clubs are going to be slightly different, so hopefully you'll enjoy this one. I haven't read many Stephen King's. I did read Gerald's Game, and obviously I've seen a couple of his films like It. But yeah, I find Stephen King books quite hard to read. I know my husband Warren has read The Dark Tower. I think that was turned into a film or a series? I'm pretty sure it was on TV. Maureen says she's just read The Girl in the Picture. That was good. I think I've heard of that, The Girl in the Picture. I'm going to jot it down because I like to look these up afterwards. The Girl in the Picture. Linda says Trespassers is about a love affair during the Irish Troubles. So was the story not good or the ending not good, Linda? Diane says, I'm loving it, but it's very sci-fi. Lots of space physics, so wouldn't recommend it unless you like the genre. I quite like sci-fi. I love sci-fi movies and sci-fi TV series. So yeah, I just watched, actually, just going off topic a little bit. I'll just take that off if I can find it. I just watched a TV series called The Rig on Prime TV. That was a bit sci-fi. I watched 2 series of it, and it was, yeah, has anybody watched it? That was really strange. Linda says, The Trespassers, the story was brilliant, too much sex. I do think sometimes it's not necessary in a novel, is it, Linda? It's like in films, we're watching something sci-fi-ish or action, and then all of a sudden they'll put a sex scene in, and you just think, was that really necessary? It doesn't really add anything to the story. But I guess, different things for different people. Oh. I forgot what else I was going to say, actually. I don't think I have anything else to say. It's going to be a short one tonight. Usually I go on till about 7:15 for Christine, who's never been in a book club before. Also, Project Hail Mary, I was thinking it was The Dark Tower. Project Hail Mary was the one that was very sci-fi. It doesn't actually sound sci-fi-ish, Diane. But yeah, it is good to read different kinds of books. I read a book in January. Oh, that's brilliant. Maureen says The Cottage is on Kindle. She's just ordered it. I read a book in January. I can't see where I've put it now. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's up here. And it was called, what was it called? Best of Friends by Kathy Kelly. I did not enjoy it. Didn't enjoy it. It was about 3 women and their kind of stories sort of intertwined. There was a cancer theme running through it, which was a bit triggering, and I hadn't realized that was going to be in it. But yeah, they were supposed to be best of friends, these 3 women, and they never saw each other, never even spoke to each other. And I just thought they were very stereotypical, and the book was long, and it was predictable. Yeah, I don't think I would read another Kathy Kelly one. Diane says about Project Hail Mary, it's the name of the spaceship saving the world. Oh, I might like that, Diane, actually. Would you recommend it? Wouldn't recommend unless you like the genre, right? I would possibly like that. I'll have a look at it. So how many people think they are going to read The Cottage by Lisa Stone? Do you think they're going to give that one a go? I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I haven't read kind of a creepy kind of book like that for a while, so that'll be interesting. I seem to have read a lot of books lately that have just been, give it a go, Karen, will be a film soon too. I'll definitely need to read the book before the film then. Linda says she'll have a go at The Cottage. That's great. It's much better in the chat if people have read the book, because then I've got something to bounce off. Maureen says she's reading The Sicilian Secret. That sounds interesting, Maureen. Is that about the mafia? Carol said she'll read it. Great. And I'm going to hold you all to this. I want full reviews by next month. Anybody else read any good books lately? I've got the one on my shelf that I've put on my TBR list, and it's an Alison Weir book, and it's about Mary the First, so Henry VIII's daughter. It's about her, and I'm really looking forward to reading that. I've kind of been putting it off. Christine's going to give it a go too. That's great, Christine. It'd be great to have you back again. So Maureen, was The Sicilian Secret about the mafia? What's it about? I need to know now. Does anybody watch any other YouTube book clubs? I know there is a few on. I've kind of researched it before and found a few, but I haven't really watched any of them. So does anybody else dip into any other YouTube book clubs? It's nice to see what other people are doing. I do watch a lot of YouTube kind of book channels, mainly Lauren and the Books I've watched, and that other one, Get Higgy With It. I can't remember the woman's name now. But yeah, I do like to watch videos about books. It's a World War II novel, Maureen, is it? Okay. I've kind of been, after reading The Nightingale, which I found really, really harrowing to read, I've kind of been put off reading any books around wars. Diane says, never been in any sort of book club before. I'd quite like to have been in one offline, so where you meet up at people's houses. I'd quite like to do that. I think that would be quite fun, because you can get a glass of wine and have some nibblies. That would be fun. Just everybody come round here and we'll have some nibbles and a drink. Linda says, I used to belong to a face-to-face book club, but during COVID, they switched it to video. Yeah, I think a lot of things did then, didn't they? Maureen says it's about World War II. It goes back and forth. I find it any good, Maureen? I suppose you'll be able to tell better when you finished it whether you recommend it or not. Diane says we're on the way. Come over. Come on. Bring some nibbles with you, though. Linda says, yes, that one was in a pub. Far better. Yeah. It's quite difficult to run a book club on YouTube, because you don't have that interaction. That's why I like to have somebody on with us. And I always say every month, whoever wants to join us, you're quite welcome to. I can have up to 10 people on with us. I just send you a link, and as long as you've got a webcam and a microphone and stuff, and then it's kind of more interactive chat. But yeah, me just talking maybe a little bit boring. Maureen says, no, this is not heroin. Oh, that's better than Maureen. I don't need heroin at the moment. So is everybody having a cup of coffee while they're listening, while they're in the chat here? A cup of coffee, glass of wine. I've actually got a glass of Coke. So maybe we could all have an alcoholic tipple next month and show what cake we're eating. Oh, Diane's having Pepsi Max. It's Diet Coke for me, Diane. I wouldn't mind a vodka in it, actually. Linda says, I think my cat wants to join you. Nearly knocked my phone out my hand. Well, I am a crazy cat lady, so cats are very welcome. I'm surprised my cat hasn't been in meowing, actually. Okay, so I think I'm going to end there because I don't really have anything else to say. And I don't want to bore you all to death. Diane says, great idea on the vodka. Next month, I'll have some vodka. Meow back, Linda. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. I really appreciate it. I switched the time from 7 till 6. Would anybody be available if I did this at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Because I find 7 o'clock at night is just kind of the wrong time for me. And I think 6 o'clock might be the wrong time for a lot of people. So I was wondering if I did it at maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon or maybe 11 in the morning. Let us know in the comments under this video when it goes up on YouTube, or let us know on Facebook what time would be good for everybody. I might put a poll up, actually. And I might change it next month. Maureen says it's about a girl finds out that she has been adopted and tries to find her mother. I like books like that, Maureen. I'll definitely have a look at that. So anyway, I'm going to finish it there. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't been here before, I hope you'll come back. Maureen, you can come live on your iPad. We'll try and get that sorted out for next month. I'm definitely going now. So I'll see you next month. Cheers. Bye.